Okay, good morning, everyone. If we could have your attention, please, we will get kicked off here with our Friday media availabilities. We are now joined by Chris Buescher, driver of the number 34 Loves Travel Stops Ford for Front Row Motorsports. Chris recently got his first Sprint Cup Series win at Pocono Raceway and sits just 3 points outside of the top 30 to make the chase. He's had much success here at Bristol. Last August in the Xfinity race, he led a career best 106 laps. So welcome, Chris. If you could just start off by talking about your outlook for the weekend.
Yeah, it's happy to be back in Bristol. Definitely one of my top 3 favorite tracks we come to. So I feel like it's a place we can definitely go have some fun and have a good run. We ran pretty decent here in the spring, and just with at the time we were on the bottom for a lot of the research, and we didn't want to be there. And I feel like we're going to be saying the exact opposite this time around. But pretty interesting. I've been watching the truck race. Hearing about Xfinity practice, just trying to see where the track's heading with the new grip added. I know the trucks broke a track record. I don't know if you put an asterisk next to the track record or not, but pretty cool nonetheless. It's cool to see Bristol back on the bottom and trying to recreate the bump and run style of racing that we've had here in the past. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's definitely going to be different, and I don't know that everything from the spring is going to carry over. We'll probably have to work on adjusting quite a bit. With the track being now green this morning, since that little shower, we'll see how it all plays out. We'll looking forward to it regardless. I'm excited to be here in Bristol. I love this racetrack, so it's regardless of whether we're on the top or the bottom, it's a blast to come run at.
Okay, we'll now open it up for questions for Chris. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We'll start up here with Jeff and then go back to Jerry.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. You mentioned the bump and run. Do you think that if everybody is on the bottom and it turns into that kind of race, that the bump and run will be like more acceptable, or will guys understand if it gets done to them, or will the temper still flare?
I'm sure you'll be mad if you get pushed out of the groove, but I think if it's on the bottom and that's the way to pass, you better expect it. And you can be upset about it, but pretty quickly everyone will realize that that's the only way they're going to get those spots back that they just lost, and they're gonna wind up on the other side, dishing it out. So if that's the way it goes, I think we should just fully expect it and just be ready. Try not to let our feelings get hurt, because it is going to be. It's going to be a tough race if it's just on the bottom like that. But, just watching the truck race, it looked like that second groove, even middle, wasn't faster, but it was usable. And so I think there's a good lane to recover if you do get pushed out. And I think there's possibility of the top or the middle being able to actually pass on the bottom, especially when it gets jammed up down there.
Okay, Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network, Kicking the Tires. Chris, last time we talked to you, hadn't had time to let it all sink in and have fun from your win. Have you had that chance, and what did you finally get to do?
Yard work, lots of yard work. It has sunk in now. It was nice to have an off weekend. Kind of take it easy. Went out to Texas to go see my family. Haven't been with them in a while, so it's nice to relax. I say that I think I did more work out there than I do at my own place, but honestly, I like to stay busy. So I went out in the garage, helped Dad, washed all my sister's cars, and basically put me to work. But it was a good time. It was just nice to change pace up a little bit. It's our last one of the year, so now we look at the rest of it, and we got some pretty awesome races coming up. Obviously that win. Special for being the first one, but with the chase format and everything going on, it's extremely important that we go after it these next 4. So we look at these races, Bristol, Michigan, we ran really well at as Fords, basically as a large group, and Darlington's my favorite racetrack. So we throw in the curveball of Richmond in there that I'm undecided on, and we'll go get those couple of points and get in the chase, and then we'll be talking about a little bit different year.
Okay, we'll go next to Chris, then come up to Bob, and then over to Woody.
Chris, NightGetTrends.com. Chris, it's been a few weeks since the win at Pocono. Has the phone been ringing or inquiring for sponsorship, especially during the chase for Front Row Motorsports?
I hope so. I guess I don't know. It'd be awesome to be able to sell a bit more. We got Loves on board of our Fusion this weekend, and they're pretty excited. We got some cool stuff coming for Darlington, just for the throwback scheme. A bunch of things happening that are not necessarily new, but we've had a great partnership with CSX and Loves this year, and they've really stepped up from what they've done previously. So we're happy to have them on board, and we'll definitely be glad to be looking ahead and see if we can get a little bit more.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Last year, at the end of the year, your quotes were, "I hate points racing." Do you feel like you're points racing now, and is it any different? And can you talk about maybe your approach because of where you are in the points?
I still hate points racing, but it is a little bit different this time around. It's a place where we have to be a little bit aware of our situation and make sure that we're not involved in anything that we can avoid, but it's also time to be aggressive. It's time to go out there, get every point we can get every time we're out on track, and from there we'll just let it play itself out. I mean, it's at this point we've gotten ourselves in a little bit of a hole just from some speedway racing and a couple other things, and now we're digging out of it. And the only way to do that is to go out here and be competitive. So, I look at Bristol as probably one of our better racetracks this year for speed and for where we're running in the race, and this should be a place where we can gain a lot of those points. That being said, the guys that we're racing also run really well here. So, it's going to be a battle right up to the end of Richmond.
Okay, we'll go next to Woody and then come back over to Dustin.
Woody Kane with MRM. Chris, wanted to get you to look ahead a little bit, going back to Michigan with that new even lower downforce package. Your impressions of it the first time, and your thoughts about going back with that same package as opposed to maybe trying it at a different track.
I'm glad that we're sticking with what we left Michigan with. Not trying to change it up too much. Not trying to throw too many curveballs, especially as we get closer to the chase. I think a lot of teams will tell you that they don't want to have to be guessing when they show up to the racetrack on a new rules package. So, I think it's good to have that consistency there. I think the race at Michigan was pretty good. It was wild and out of control, and I can't tell you how many cars I saw slide from one groove up three. But it was an interesting race. It was a lot of fun. We had good speed, so I'm excited to go back to Michigan with the package they're bringing. I think it's going to be good.
Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Chris, since the timing lines, more timing lines have been added, speeding penalties are up. I know timing lines weren't added here; they're already a number here. You got dinged at Pocono, obviously able to come back. But what's the challenge on pit road now with more of these timing lines in most of these places, and even this track where there were 17 speeding penalties in the spring Cup race?
The timing lines. Adding more is basically just keeping us at our pit road speed. So the rule never changed. It's always, if our speed's 50 mile an hour, it's 50 mile an hour. Well, you have that gap in between lines. Now that we've split a lot of our segments in half, it for the most part is going to get rid of the speeding up, the passing. The way it was explained to me is it's more of a safety thing. We don't want cars coming down pit road too wide, trying to turn in their pit boxes and putting our crew guys in danger because guys are racing on pit road or trying to bang doors just to get to their pit stall. So from that aspect, I think it's mostly on the safety side. I think it's fine with me. It's not something that I had utilized very well up to this point, so it didn't change a whole lot for me. I'm just trying to get to the point where I can run it as close as I can to pit road speed consistently and not speed, and I still did a poor job of that at Pocono. So for myself, I don't think it's going to change much just because we hadn't been trying to maximize those segments. So now it's just more of the same.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Mark and then final question from Kenny.
Mark Arrow, PRN. Chris, as you look at this point right now, you're just barely out. If you get in, do you feel like there'll be more pressure once you're in the top 30 and have something to lose, or do you feel like there's more pressure now because you're sitting on the outside and not quite yet qualified for the chase?
Judging by last year, if we get in that top 30 and we're trying not to lose it, it's probably going to be a little bit more stressful. We had to go more on defense last year than we have to right now. Right now we got to get all we can get and be aggressive with it to gain points, and that's more fun racing. Last year I remember talking to Ricky about his 2 championships on the Xfinity side, and he did them both different ways. He did one chasing and one being ahead, and he said he had a blast when he was trying to chase them down and got it that way. So to me, that's good news. That means we can go out here, we can race, we can have fun, we can enjoy these weekends, not too worried about giving it up, just knowing that we got to do everything we can do to run it as well as possible. And that's not necessarily saying we got to try and get ourselves in a fuel window and run out of gas and lose a bunch of spots. It's saying that we got to be aggressive on track, take passes whenever we can get them, and make sure that we can drive forward so that we are earning points versus losing them each of these next 4 weekends.
Kenny?
Yeah, Chris, Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. You kind of addressed this in a couple of different questions, but people look at it and go, "You're only 3 points back." That anybody can make up 3 points. Can you kind of talk about how difficult it is just to gain that much?
Yeah, I think anyone will tell you. It's not necessarily just 3 points either. It's going to be constantly changing. There's 4 drivers in this window that can basically upset the balance or change it each and every weekend. So, for us right now, yeah, it's 3 points to David Reagan, but after Bristol, it could be a completely different story. It could be, we gain points on David, but we could get passed by the one behind us. I mean, it's a balance, but we got to take it week by week. And kind of going back to previous questions, we have to capitalize on our weekends as much as possible. That's what's going to be important for us, is to do the best we can and let everything else fall the way it's going to.
Chris, thank you so much for coming in. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. Y'all have fun. Hopefully not.